Okay. The time is 10:34. This is the Libertarian Party of Indiana State Central Committee. The date is October 21st, 2023, and I call this meeting to order. Mr. Secretary, if you would like to call the roll, please.
All right, Chair McMahon is here. Vice Chair Alexander.
Here.
Secretary Schultz is here speaking. Treasurer Schulteis. Mr.
Here.
Schulteis, okay. Political Copeland.
Here.
IT Hagerman.
Here.
Tom Smith is not here. Speak up if you are. District 1 by proxy is Mike Teleski.
Here.
District 2 Coquillard.
Here.
District 3 Avery.
Here.
D4 Lundy.
Present.
D5 Schillings.
Here.
D6 Lomax.
I am here.
D7 Johnson.
Here.
D8 Engelberth.
Here.
D9 Kinzer.
Here.
All right, Mr. Chair, I count 15 voting members present, 0 guests, and only Mr. Smith is missing.
Great, thank you. I'm going to share the screen. This is the agenda that is up for adoption. Are there any amendments to the agenda as presented? Okay, hearing none. Is there any objection to adopting the agenda as presented? Okay, hearing none, the agenda is adopted. I'm going to ask Mr. Lomax to be the timekeeper. Okay. I don't know if you guys can hear that. No, great, good. It's really annoying on my end. All right, officer reports. I've been working with CiviCRM in our install. Talking to National, I have been pressing pretty much on a daily basis to get access to the national system so that we can have a current count of national members. I am now officially being ghosted. They're not even reading my messages anymore. I'm presenting something to our district rep, Mr. Nana, as an official. They are in violation of the policy manual and the bylaws of the National Party. We are being prevented from confirming our national members, which affects our national delegate allotment, and that's not cool. Me and Vice Chair Alexander have been working on providing National with a list of people that we know in August that they said were lapsed, that were not lapsed at the time, that had current national memberships, but for some reason were showing as lapsed on their end. As of, I believe it was Wednesday, it might have been Thursday, I received the latest delegate count. We were still in 8th place as a state affiliate, but we had gone up to a total of 38 delegate spots. So we went from, I believe, 31 to 38. So we've gained 7. I think that especially with both Kristen and myself contacting triple members that either have recently lapsed or would renew during the month of October, I think we'll stay at least steady, if not increasing that size some more. I know that we've had at least 3 people within the last 24 hours renew their triple membership that had lapsed. So when Ms. Alexander gives her report on membership later in the meeting, just know that there are 3 additional people who are triple members who have been lapsed for at least a year. So there's that. I have been working with a couple of state legislators on proposing changes to Indiana election law. These are some of the things that we had talked about last year. Right now, if a candidate runs for a local like township office, they have to certify that they are a Republican or a Democrat or have voted in the primaries. But if you're running as a Libertarian, there's no check on that. You're not nominated by the party. You just get to say you're a Libertarian. So we're talking about making that a nominated position for non-primary parties, or at least just a statement that the person is a member according to the county or state chair. So there's a couple things like that. Just cleaning it up so that somebody's not running as a Libertarian without our, backing, essentially. So I've been talking about that, as well as a bill to require or to prohibit the banning of yard signs or political signs at polling places. That if you are a business or an organization and you have signed up to be a polling location and are being paid by the county or city to do so, you lose your right to limit electioneering on your property. Right now, they have the right to say no political signs and no polling. So you can't stand outside and pass out literature. We're proposing a bill that says if you're getting paid to host, you lose your right to that. So those are the two big things that I've been working on with the legislature to hopefully be introduced later this month for the next session starting in January. Other than that, I've been talking to a lot of state chairs recently about the problems that they're also having. And basically everybody continues to look at Indiana as the shining example of how to do things the right way. So that's good. Any questions? Okay, passing it on to the vice chair, Ms. Alexander.
Libertations, there's not much going on. Like Evan said, we're calling lapsed or about to lapse members, national members, things like that, trying to get them to double up and become state members also. I am working with Orange County, which has officially technically disaffiliated. They filed their final CFA 4 on time. So there's that. But I'm also talking to somebody who has worked in the party before. She is going to be moving out to Orange County in about the middle of next year. So hopefully we'll have them reaffiliated by 2025. Then that's about it for vice chair stuff.
Just to clarify, they're not disaffiliated because that's a distinction that we have to make. They have dissolved their committee with the state. So we would have to take action to officially disaffiliate them. But as far as the law is concerned, there is no active committee in Orange County. But if two people were to contact us tomorrow and say, hey, we don't agree with that, we want the party to keep going, they wouldn't have to go through the reaffiliation process. We would just hold a special election for them. And we can do that up to, I think, 6 months. So I would encourage us not to consider them disaffiliated officially, but just a closed committee that we can then hold a special convention to appoint new officers if people step forward. Otherwise, we have to go through the entire process all over again with them, which we technically don't have to unless we say they are disaffiliated. Any questions for Ms. Alexander, the vice chair? Mr. Schultz?
So I'm not sure how this works. I've never missed a meeting before, but I was not present at the last meeting. I think Ms. Alexander took the minutes. So do we approve minutes as part of her report, or?
I was actually told that I was not taking minutes and that you would be taking minutes for the reporting.
Yeah.
Oh, good to know. Okay.
Sorry, that didn't get passed on.
There were no actions taken that I can remember. It was just reports and attendance, essentially. I don't think there was anything that we voted on, was there?
Was that my house?
Yeah,
Yeah, no, that was a very brief reports only basically meeting.
So just get with me, Mr. Chair, and let me know what, if anything, you want me to record for that or how.
I'll send you the link, basically just who was in attendance and that everybody in attendance gave their report and that the reports were amazing.
Thank you.
All right. Any other questions for the vice chair? Okay,
I just
here-
want
Go ahead,
to
Mr.
state for the
Aguirre.
record that Mr. Hirsch has joined us.
Yes, he is, and he will be acting as the to give the LNC update instead of Mr. Region 3 Rep, Mr. Nana. Okay, moving on. Mr. Schultheis, the treasurer.
Across all of our accounts as of this morning, we have $23,369.70. The board may notice that this report is in a different format. I'm in the process of migrating us back to QuickBooks, so we should be able to have more detailed reports, hopefully by the next SCC meeting.
Right. The only thing that I'm aware of outstanding right now is there is one convention check that's outstanding, and then we'll have the fees for the November 11th training session. So those are the only things that I'm aware of that are outstanding. We've already paid the big portion of the CRM, and the bigger portions of the convention checks have already been paid. So I believe that those are the only major things outstanding. Is that correct, Mr. Schultheis?
Yes, that's my recollection as well.
Thank you, sir. Any questions for the treasurer? Okay, hearing none. Mr. Secretary, Mr. Schultz, do you have anything? Any report?
No, because I wasn't here last time. I will just say I've gotten copied on several counties saying that they put in their CFA4 pre-election report. Thanks for the courtesy copies. And I assume all the district reps are telling their counties to get those filed and all their candidates, but the deadline has passed and the late fees are going to start piling up. So please make sure everybody gets those filed.
Okay, any questions for Mr. Schultz? Are you raising your hand, Ms. Schillings, or are you clapping?
I'm raising my hand because I have a question.
Go ahead, Ms. Schillings.
If some of my counties have not responded to my inquiry about whether they have filed their CFA4, how do I proceed to get that information? Do I need to check with a website, the state, that SOS website to see?
Yeah, so you'll go to the campaign finance portal. I'll send a link out in an email because I don't have it handy right here. And you just search for Libertarian.
Okay.
Darren keeps getting dropped from the call. You just search for Libertarian Regular Party Committee, and it gives a list of all of the committees, and then you just search for any of your counties. You click on it and open it, and it'll tell you if they're late or not. You'll see a filing or not see a filing.
Thank you.
It's only if they file with the state.
And some of them don't. But if you don't see them listed and you know they're affiliated, then they're filing with their county. And counties don't have to maintain a system for you to verify and check filings. I will say this, I will not be speaking to lower any fees for anybody who is late, whether that's a candidate or a county. I did that for the first 2 years. I'm not doing it anymore. Especially since some of the counties, we negotiated a 75% decrease in their fees and then proceeded to be late for the next year on every report without paying their fees. So, yep, I'm not going to be talking on their behalf anymore. If there is an issue and somebody reaches out to me and says, hey, can you help me with this? That's a different story, but I'm not just going to go there and ask for a reduction in fees. Any other questions for the secretary? Okay, hearing none, we will hear from Mr. Hirsch as our Region 3 alternate. Mr. Hirsch, you have the floor. Please give us an update on what's going on with the LLC.
Yes, indeed. Ever since our last meeting, the LNC, we had a Zoom meeting on October 1st. Things were done at that meeting over Zoom. The policy manual was amended. A few things were changed. Some of the things that were amended, some of the committee sizes were changed. The affiliate support committee, well, actually the composition changed. The affiliate support committee, for example, it has a total of 7 members, but we added 2 of those members must be LNC members. The convention committee has 7 members. It used to require 4 LNC members. Now we lowered that down to 3. So that way there can be one person can be on the committee now without being an LNC member. There was also a statement. The following paragraph was added, and this is relevant based on charges of nepotism among our national chair. The statement added, it says, any proposed contracts or agreements for financial remuneration with a closely related party, in parentheses, legal relative, domestic partner, business associate, close parentheses, to a sitting LNC member or staff member, shall be disclosed to the LNC prior to the execution and shall be approved by 2/3 vote of the executive committee or a majority vote of the LNC. This relation shall also be disclosed on the LNC members' listing of potential conflicts of interest. And that's kind of the big thing there. We're going to have the next meeting on November 12th, a Zoom meeting then. We're going to have an in-person meeting the first weekend in December out in the Los Angeles area. And there are also some on different committees. There are some people appointed as chairs of the committees. We also voted to execute the Fresh IP contract with Fresh IP with the trademark maintenance with the USPTO. That trademark thing was renewed. Dustin and Anna proposed a censorship resolution. This is discussed among the 4 Region 3 state chairs. The following resolution opposing censorship in America's libraries. Whereas the First Amendment guarantees the right to freedom of speech and expression vital to life, whereas public libraries and government entities must be neutral providers, so on, whereas students in public schools, whereas we move down to the bottom of this here. Now proposed be it resolved that the Libertarian Party affirms that any form of unconstitutional censorship in public, school, and academic libraries is contrary to the liberty. Libertarians oppose policies and laws which infringe on the First Amendment, limit the rights. It was a great resolution, but unfortunately the LNC voted it. Or in fact, Ms. Harlow, our secretary, voted. She made a motion where it could be struck without even being heard. Something in Robert's Rule of Orders where you didn't have to hear this thing because it was so egregious. And whatever you say the word, but anyway, it was knocked down flat. Yeah, the objection passed with a roll call vote of 7-3-4. Then after that, we went into executive session, which of course I can't discuss that here. And then the committee adjourned. And like I said, then the next meeting, we're going to meet on Zoom on November 12th, and then in person in Los Angeles on December 1st.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Hirsch. Any questions for Mr. Hirsch about the LNC?
Oh, I should also add that our national chair, Ms. McArdle, using voter gravity, we're making available voter data or lists available for sale, but she wants to make it clear that none of it is being sold to the Republican Party, our data is not being made available to the Republicans, contrary to what people are posting on social media.
I'm actually on the committee that's overseeing that program, and she sent out a very hostile email that was not reflective of the actual policies for who gets to use voter gravity. It made it sound like anybody who declares that they are a Libertarian candidate can sign up and use voter gravity, and that's actually not true. You have to be a nominated candidate, officially balloted in your state, or endorsed in the event of a nonpartisan by either your state or county party and meeting the definition of party member according to the state law or bylaws of that state affiliate. So it can't just be anyone. On top of that, every third party vendor shares data with the national client. eCanvasser works with both Republicans and Democrats. Our data is not shared with Republicans or Democrats, just like with voter gravity. There are Republicans, there are Democrats who use the system. No one is getting access to it. The ridiculous thing was somebody posted a screenshot of a document that I actually worked on that says the state affiliate and the Libertarian National Committee do have access to the data for Libertarian candidates. And it was changed to RNC. I could tell because I'm the one who wrote it. And I was kind of pissed off about that. It's cool to throw stones, but don't make stuff up. So we're going to be using voter gravity. It's actually going to cost the state party nothing to use voter gravity, but the candidates that use it will have to pay a little bit each month, but it is a robust piece of software. And the other thing, like people were complaining saying, oh, this is taking data from the national party and the state affiliates. It's actually not. Voter gravity is providing the voter data. They're getting it from Aristotle, not from us. We can supplement, like we have better data than Aristotle. So there are things that we can supplement with it, but they're actually the ones supplying the voter data. That's why it costs. That's why there's a fee associated with it. But so it's a great program that doesn't just do walking and walk lists. It also can do phone banking and text banking. You can drill down by consumer data. So it's a lot of stuff that we're already doing are included in one app. We have a little bit better data system. So there are sometimes we're going to want to supplement and add a little bit of other information into it. But it's actually me and Danny, Mr. Lundy, did a walkthrough with the owner, who, by the way, there are two owners. One's a Republican and one's been a card-carrying Libertarian Party member for like 10 years. So, but we did a walkthrough and we were super impressed with it. It's basically everything that we would want to have in Indiana, that we've talked about wanting to like pay to have those things integrated so that we can do all this stuff. It's there. So I'm really excited about us being able to roll that out in 2024 for all our candidates. Unfortunately, it wasn't on the ground yet in time for our 2023 candidates, but so it's a program that I actually like. One other thing, Mr. Hirsch, I was contacted by the affiliate support committee chair, Mr. Brandon Jacobs, I think. Basically, they wanted to make sure that information was accurate for the state affiliate, and they're contacting the state leaders outside of the CRM because apparently they can't use the CRM to email and phone call all the state chairs, which I was disheartened to hear. But they did ask if there was anything that we needed. And I sent him basically the same requests that I've been sending to National for the last 3 years about branded content and printed materials and supplies, which are now officially no longer on the website. You can no longer buy the rack cards or any of the LP literature. You can only buy t-shirts and shoes, apparel. Apparently that's a mistake, and they're trying to figure out how to link those materials that are shipped out by the National Party office, including them in the same store that actually does the print on demand stuff. Ms. Schillings, you had a question.
I was going to say, I have those PDF documents from the national website saved from in my personal files if you do need them.
I do need them. That would be excellent. Thank you.
Share those with you.
They do have some new staff working in the national office, and there's like some newer people, so that could be part of the issue there. I also wanted to say that a couple other things. Dustin Ann is working on the ballot access thing in the state of Maine. At the last meeting, at the last Zoom meeting that I was just referencing, he wasn't feeling that good during the meeting, so he left the meeting early. Basically, what that means is during the last part of the meeting, and I got to cast some actual votes for the first time on the LNC, me being the alternate. And also, as far as that resolution that was voted down, I suggested to Dustin submit that thing at the national convention and let the delegates at the convention vote on it. I mean, I don't know why the LNC is so against that, but I think the delegates should hear it. Man, it's a great resolution.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Hirsch. That's time. So moving on to reports from directors, Mr. Copeland, you're first, political director.
I've been fairly inactive over the last month. There's not been much in my inbox as far as requests for action. I've just been trying to get things in a row to give the big report after Election Day.
Mr. Copeland, I did submit a written request on behalf of Libby Glass that we talked about at the Thursday event in Marion County. But I submitted that in writing to Mr. Lundy so that he can get that data to Ms. Glass as soon as possible.
Yeah, I was going to follow up with Danny on that individually if you hadn't.
Yep, already did. Any questions for Mr. Copeland? Okay, hearing none, moving on to comms director, Mr. Smith.
Yeah, we've gotten into the comms program and I've sent out a couple of statewide releases. One in support of the event that that Donald Rainwater and Kristen held to help save Wilson's Farm Market from eminent domain, and then another after INDOT, thanks to the public pressure that we helped, we helped with, and announcing that INDOT had changed their plans. So, and again, if you need or want me to promote something, please reach out to me, send me an email, and I can get it turned around somewhat quickly. So I'm here to serve you, and I can sometimes, work pretty odd hours, but try to get it to me as quickly as possible, and I will get it turned around and get it sent as quickly as possible as well.
Mr. Smith has been doing a great job of anytime I need a piece written up, I send the request to him and he gets it done within a couple hours, if not by the next day. But he always tells me like, I can't right now, but I'll get it to you by tomorrow. Thank you for that, Mr. Smith. We did actually have somebody reach out that is interested in joining the comms team to do some writing and research. I included you on the email response to him, as well as Ms. Schillings, because he's from her district. We'll see how that goes. I'm not exactly sure what his interest is, but we'll find out, and hopefully he wants to come on board and do some writing. So we'll see. Any questions for Mr. Smith? Okay, hearing none, moving on to the tech director, Mr.
Okay, I was out most of the last month, so I don't have much to report other than I did work on Wild Apricot. There's getting to be very few names left in there. I think we're down to under 8, but most of them are here at the end of this month, so I will have to do another update next week. That's it for my report.
Chuck, I've got a question for you. So I put it in the chat too, but do we have any kind of update on when the counties will have access to CRM again? And did you hear from the Johnson County chair about his access?
No, I'll try to go through my emails today and catch up, but yes, I did. He asked about what the link was. Yes, I did respond to that.
Okay.
It hasn't been turned on yet because as of right now, the permissions, and there was actually, Andy was working on it the past 3 days, and Mr. Schulteis actually ended up having his access turned off when he was trying to access it because Andy was messing with trying to fix some of the permission aspects for counties. Because right now, if you log in as a county, you basically are a state admin. So we don't want that. So it's taken a little bit longer to get those reconnected and turned on. He also, part of the issue is the relationship and the roles that we set for the person on our site will transfer over when they have their own county site. And so it's like, we can't have two different types of county officer relationships. The access that they should be able to have on their own site is greater than the access and control that they would have on the state party site. Does that make sense? But there can't be two different access points. So he's been working on trying to fix that. So that's also part of the hiccup there is that bottleneck. I could just say next week, but I'm honestly just going to say I don't know. It is one of the top urgent priorities. So it is the thing that he's working on most actively to get resolved. And it basically boils down to, it's the problem with, we know we're going to be adding county websites. And so the problem basically is trying to create the relationship that will be able to exist on both sections or both segments. Any other questions for Mr. Hagerman? Did that answer your question, Mr. Lomax, which is we don't know?
Yes, thank you.
Okay. Any other questions for Mr. Hagerman? Okay, hearing none, moving on to membership director, which is actually being filled by our lovely vice chair, Ms. Alexander.
Well, like I said earlier, we are working on increasing membership this month so we can increase delegation. We do still have about 10-ish days. Really, it's more like 8 days to do this last push for membership. Our total member numbers right now are 510, which is really probably 514, and our total membership numbers is 583 plus 4. There were 4 new memberships last night, not just 3. So 587 memberships currently, and we're doing good. We have had a couple people drop off due to financial reasons. So we should be really mindful of that when we're going through reaching out, but overall, it looks good. We're increasing, everybody else is decreasing. Go us. Any questions?
Any questions about membership numbers? Something that we've decided to do, which will affect right now, is starting November 1st. We'll send out the ones for October, but moving forward, anyone who joins or renews, okay, let me back up. We're going to start sending all annual, all membership cards the beginning of January. So everybody will get them at the same time. If you join at any point during the first 3 quarters, you will get your membership card and PIN then. If you join in the 4th quarter of the year, you'll get it in the beginning of January. That way we're not printing a new card for you in January. But so that's going to be the process moving forward. And we'll be starting in November. So anybody who's new, and they'll get the notice, they'll get the thing that says you're going to get your membership card and PIN in January. But we're going to be moving forward with that. That way it's not this constant headache of, who's renewed, who hasn't. You'll get your membership card in January with your expiration, your next expiration date on it. Okay. It is district report time. Mr. Telsky is the proxy for District 1. Do you have a report, sir?
I sure do. Thanks, Mr. Chair. We did, let's see, on October 14th, we did our Service Saturday event with the Food Bank of Northwest Indiana in Maryville, Indiana. We had representatives from both Lake and Porter County, and our District 1 rep, John, was with us as well. We spent 4 hours packing and distributing needed food items to members in Lake County. Lake County has had 4 Facebook posts, no regular meetings or events or candidates. Porter County has had 5 Facebook posts and 1 Instagram post. No new members have joined. Our last meeting was September 20th, and our next business meeting is November 27th. That has been changed for November 20th due to the Thanksgiving week holiday. And LaPorte County has had 5 Facebook posts, no new members. Our last officers meeting was October 12th, and then they had a meetup on September 28th, and the next meetup is November 9th. And there is a note that we do have a mayoral candidate in Michigan City on this runaround. I don't have any information on that candidate, but we will get some and share it.
If we can get that info and get it to Mr. Copeland as soon as possible so that we can put that up on the website. I do believe, Mr. Copeland, there are candidates missing from the website still. Any questions for Mr. Telsky for District 1? Okay, hearing none, moving on to District 2, Ms. Coquillard.
Not too much to report for District 2. County parties continue to meet monthly. Trivia night at Hop Floor Brewery on Thursdays in Warsaw. And Josh Vergils has become somewhat of a reoccurring guest on Freedom Cats broadcast on Apple Podcasts. So check that out. That's all I got.
Hey, any questions for Ms. Coquillard? Okay, District 3, Miss Avery.
Also, not a lot to report. I heard from, I think, 4 different counties that they did file their reports with the state, and I think all the candidates also did. So that's good news. The one county I didn't hear from is one that's sometimes perpetually late, but if I don't hear from them, that usually means it's good. Candidates have been getting out there and talking to people. I know Melanie Love has a lot of signs around in her county. Thanks to Mark Rutherford for pointing out to me that the Allen County candidate, Ethan Gaudette, was not mentioned in the newspaper's list of candidates that are on the ballot. So we got that taken care of. I was out of town at the time, so I wasn't there to read my newspaper to find it myself. So thank you to Mark for that. And we're just getting ready for Election Day. That's it. Any questions?
I will say that Miss Avery has been working on the RFPs, and she's been working with the Fort Wayne Visitors Center, Visit Fort Wayne, whatever they are, and they have come back and asked questions, and I think we're supposed to expect a proposal from them next week, I think she said.
Did you answer the latest question about book room blocks?
I did not. And what's funny is I had a response to her first question, and I had it and it was there. And then I saw your message and I was like, why is Christy Avery answering the question I just answered? And then I went back and looked, it was in drafts. I was like, oh, that's why. Okay, well, I'll just let her answer.
I'm like waiting for Evan. Screw
Yeah.
it. I'm just answering.
Yeah. And it was a good answer. No, I have not responded to that. I will do that today.
All right. Thank you.
Hold on. Let me put a task note here real quick. Okay. Okay. So I will respond to the room block question today. Has anybody else? Well, I'll ask this later. But thank you for doing that, Miss Avery. I appreciate it. Any questions for Miss Avery? Okay, hearing none. Moving on to District 4, Mr. Lundy.
All right, going down the list here. Boone County has a meeting on Tuesday. So we're going to do that. The last meeting, I had a great conversation with Ronnie Dixon. I think he's very likely to be our point guy in Boone County to try to get things rerunning. So they don't have a CFA to file at this time because they had already disbanded with the government entity there. Hendricks County has filed their CFA. They have a Halloween event on 10/28 at Washington Township Park in Avon. They would love to get some help out there, just handing candy out to kids. So it's usually a really big event for them. So, but they do need a few extra hands. So if anybody's available and wants to go hand out candy to kids, that's a great event. Get in touch with them. Montgomery County has also filed their CFA. Morgan County has filed their CFA. Their candidate Danny Lundy has filed their CFA. Putnam County, I have not heard from. Do not know if they filed their CFA. Tippecanoe County, I know at least one candidate filed their CFA. So that's where we're at on those things. And then, of course, you get, well, that's the data team update. That's a whole different thing. All right, that's about it. Currently, my campaign's at over 2,100 doors knocked. It's actually more than that now, but.
Any questions for Mr. Lundy? Okay, hearing none, we'll move on to District 5, Ms. Schillings.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. District 5 has been pretty quiet. However, Grant County has had an amazing last month. They had a successful motorcycle rally at the Jonesboro bike thing that they do over there. They had a lot of information, conversations with people, and those contacts are being imported into the CRM, and then possibly another social event that will be, I'm sure, publicized. They are also gearing up for their convention in January and possibly to recruit a candidate for new county races at that time, and then a potential change in leadership. So they're gearing up for that. Hamilton County held their regular meeting this past Wednesday, where we did meet with an individual who was very interested in joining our communications team. As you said, we'll see what comes from that. Our next regular meeting will be November 15th at Pinheads. It's on the social calendar on the LPIN. The December meeting will be skipped due to the holiday schedule. And our county convention is tentatively scheduled for January 14th at 2 p.m. The location to be determined, but more than likely the Fishers Library. Nothing from Delaware County or Tipton or Howard, but I did contact Greg Nolan in Madison County. He said that they have not been meeting regularly and that their chair had recently gotten married and moved, although he still remains in the county. And he's still gearing up to be the mayoral candidate at that time. And I want to thank Greg for reminding me to reach out to my county chairs to remind them to file their CFA forms. Thank you, Greg.
Question.
Yes.
Oh, sorry. Continue on. I thought you were
I was
done.
going to say, I did recently email everybody who was lapsed in the District 5 with a membership plea to join triple membership, with the idea that hopefully we can boost some at least awareness that they will start joining back before the end of the month to bolster our national numbers. That's all I have.
When you say the chair of Madison County, it's Mr. McNaughton, correct?
Correct.
So, okay. And he's planning on running for mayor?
Yeah, he has already filed to be the mayor of run for Anderson and has been publicized for that.
Okay, just making sure. I wasn't sure if it was when you said he was running. I wasn't sure if that was Mr. Nolan was running.
No. And he's the one who has had zero conversations with me after multiple attempts.
Gotcha. Okay. Any questions for Ms. Schillings? Okay, hearing none. District 6, Mr. Lomax.
Okay, so District 6, we gained a lot of momentum, at least in Hancock County, this last month. We got 40 new contacts that scored positively on the world's smallest political quiz that we entered into the subscriber list for District 6. So they're getting all of the emails that I'm sending out, and we are seeing a huge increase in the interactions with the emails. It's more than doubled between the 3 emails that I sent in the last month. So I'm really excited to see that stuff. I've got a lot of click-throughs happening. I love the stats on Civi. Please don't ever get rid of Civi. That's the best thing ever. So shout out to Liberty's Essential Pack and Mr. Rutherford. They helped out Larry Silver's campaign for mayor by getting us over the hump on ordering 6x4 postcards to send out to disenfranchised voters, new voters, and historical municipal voters, which was a list provided by Mr. Lundy. So that was fantastic help. We got 2,350 postcards sent out. They're going to be delivered on Wednesday, the 25th. And it's all done through a website called Print Place that does everything. You can design everything on the website. You can upload your own photos. You can upload your own stuff, have your own layouts. It was awesome. So thank you for Danny for helping us out. Thank you very much to Liberty is Essential and Mark Rutherford. So Johnson County, I heard from Matt Kappas because he was wondering about his Civi CRM access. He's the chair at Johnson County. So I spoke with him about that. I directed him to Mr. Hagerman. And I told him that I could help him out in whatever way I needed to as the district rep, because I still have access for the district, even though I don't have access just for Hancock County. So Henry and Rush County renewed their memberships to the triple member for the party, so state, county, and national, which I can only assume means that they also filed their CFA fours on time. So bully to them. I have not heard from Shelby, Bartholomew, Fayette, or Wayne County since our last meeting. And Hancock County CFA form is going to be 1 day late, so we are going to have to pay a fine, but that's we know that's going to happen. Something came up on Friday, so we weren't able to get it filed on time. So we have a upcoming trunk or treat event in downtown Greenfield for Larry Silver mayoral campaign. That's on the 26th from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. And if you want to come and help decorate a trunk, we're thinking porcupines and black and gold. So, keeping it simple, but handing out full-size candy bars, because that's what libertarians do on Halloween. So that is it. I'll give the rest of it back, and I am just under my 2 minutes. Thank you very much.
Please make sure that Mr. Silver did not record the $90 contribution as coming from me, but recorded as a contribution from the state party.
Yes, we've already discussed that, and it's coming from the state party. It was your discretionary fund, but we don't have to put that. It's just coming from LPIN.
Exactly.
Yep.
And if everybody remembers, it was $90. And so I took care of that. Any other questions for Mr. Lomax? Okay, hearing none. District 7, Mr. Johnson.
Thanks, Evan. Basically, we've been having our standard monthly meeting first Monday of every month. We're open to suggestions for places to have that monthly meeting. We have moved away from the Antelope Club, and right now we're doing at Ralston's on Mass Avenue. It's fairly expensive, and obviously we have to pay for parking, which isn't very libertarian. So we're open to new suggestions. We're trying to find a new spot that is a little bit more price conscious that we can meet at. But overall, same sort of numbers and people that are attending our monthly meeting. And so this past Thursday, we had kind of our first large social event at the Rathskeller. Thanks, Evan and Kristen, for attending that. Attendance wasn't as high as we had hoped. We had made a really big push via email, and then also had set up call banking to call all of our current members and active members, and then those that are just national only members. So we had about, maybe 12 to 15 people attend. So the numbers weren't as high as we wanted, but we were able to get 2 new signups at that event. One of who is Libby Glass's mother. And then from our phone banking, we got 2 other people to commit to signing up as well. So we sent them the triple membership link, and hopefully they do that on their own accord when they can. So besides that social membership, Libby Glass has been our most active candidate. We've got 2 active candidates. She is the city council, or she's going for city council for District 13. Her family is very political, being like historically Republican, but she's doing a great work out there, knocking doors. Paul's been helping her with a couple stuff, and yeah, so she's doing really well. She's brought new energy to the group, not to mention brought a couple of her family members and friends into the party as well. So she's probably been the most active candidate I've seen in a bit for Marion County. So we're going to be helping her as much as we can, especially since she's going against a Democratic Socialist. And I think he might be a Church of Satan member as well, which is an odd twist that I just found out on Thursday. But I haven't researched that myself. I don't know that for sure. Either way, yep, social event, going to have another monthly meeting event, and then the Service Saturday event coming up. But that's it from Marion County.
Any questions for Mr. Johnson? Okay, I do just want to say that I was very impressed with the step up that Marion County did on communicating significantly ahead of time and putting out reminders for the event. So I just wanted to note to that. I noticed that, and it was the reason why I was able to attend, was because I got notice in advance and follow-up messages. So you guys did a good job. I know the attendance wasn't as expected, but if you keep it up and you keep doing that and you keep sticking to that schedule, you will get more attendance, I promise you. District 8, Mr. Engelberth.
Okay, so inside of District 8, we've had a couple different events going on. Start with my own Du Bois County. We marched in a parade in Huntingburg, going through the city of Huntingburg, easily a few thousand people. It's the second most attended parade outside the Strassenfest parade that we were in the previous month. We handed out candy and also the gift of all those cards, you know, for the questionnaire card for, you know, how libertarian are you? You answered the 10 questions. We were going through the parade and people we knew and didn't know, but we recognized. We were handing out cards for them to fill out, helping spread the name of Libertarian in Huntingburg. We figured that was a very good use of those cards, since we next time we get a chance to hand them out was not going to be until the summer of next year. So that was a really big deal for us. We think that's going to do a lot going forward, getting the name out for candidates running locally and on a statewide level, thinking specifically of Rainwater or whoever the governor candidate ends up being. In Owen County, they were at two different events. They were at a Cataract Bean Festival, which I did not go to, but it sounded very interesting. And also they were at a Pride event as well. They had a booth. They ended up getting the 8th District tent, which had been damaged at a Vanderburg event, but they were able to repair it. Told them, please repair it. That was a very expensive tent. And so they were able to go there and reach out in Owen County. So Owen County is a very active county doing a lot of good work, hoping to have that spread west, try to get some action going back over in Vigo County, which is fairly dead right now. Lastly, you know, we have a mayoral candidate in Evansville, Michael Dowery. He has from the event, from the emails, he was asking for some money, and the thing was he has Democrats and Republicans helping him, and he's been privy to internal polling data from both parties, which is very odd to have happen, I think. And he is polling anywhere from 26 to 35% in these polls. Both polls show him within 5% of first, with a lot of undecided voters. So he's been asking for money for ads personally, and then of course he had asked us. But he is doing a lot of door knocking. He had said, he is only at 6,000 doors, but in Evansville, they're really trying to push out and get his name out. He's been left off of a lot of events that Evan mostly, and I have helped on a couple, have really tried to get his name back in there, and he's been able to make all of the events. He's fallen short on an AARP questionnaire. We're trying to find a human being to talk to that's the right source. The one that we found just went on vacation. So we're hoping to find somebody else. So if anyone has any contacts in the AARP who has to deal with this sort of stuff that's not membership related, Michael would desperately like to have that name, or I would. I can get it to him. Vanderburg as a county party has been focusing on Michael's campaign. If you had a chance, I believe, was it Elizabeth who had a chance to watch the debate in Evansville? He killed it. The other two candidates looked horrible. And that's what the internal Republicans and Democrats are saying. They're horrible candidates, and they want Michael to win because they're afraid for Evansville. Literally, this could be Evansville struggling as a city, and one of the bigger cities in Indiana. You can't, and so isolated, you can't have it struggle because it's going to take down, this part of the county or this part of the state, it's already bleeding people and can't have it keep happening. And so they're rallying behind Michael. They're just trying to get people to vote for him. So that's a really big deal. So it's a really big push right now. I'm trying to find time to get down there to help him out in some way, shape, or form. I can't do anything today. So, but I really try, this is a big push. So anybody has any extra cash, throwing it his way would be awesome. And that's what I have.
Any questions for Mr. Engelberth? Okay, thank you, Mr. Engelberth. And I'm always happy to help our candidates when they're getting screwed out of a debate or anything like that. And Mr. Doherty has reached out to me numerous times with those things, and I've tried to do my best to get them resolved. Okay, District 9, Mr. Kinzer.
So not a whole lot to report right now. Floyd County, of course, just held their Harvest Homecoming Festival in New Albany. It was a great time there, open 4 days. They had a double booth, 2 different tents side by side. So it was a big opening there, and a lot of people came out to talk. Quite a few people did take the political quiz. Josh Turner and Andrew Nicholson and Jeff Mayotte was there almost every day. I know Greg got a chance to go out and visit with them, and Russell from Clark County. Myself, I was there for a few hours on Sunday to help close the tent down, etc. And Tanya also got to go down and visit with them on the opening day. Clark County or Floyd County's candidates are doing very well. They're getting the word out, still door knocking every day. Josh, I don't know exactly how many doors he's hit. We'll probably hear that in the data thing later. But he is continuously going door by door, talking to voters, talking to everybody he possibly can to be reelected there in New Albany. And I really think that's going to happen. Also, Clark County, Greg and Russell have been getting out ads in the newspaper. I think Russell's working on a new postcard, I believe, that he's going to be mailing out to everybody. They're still running their Liberty Loves food drive every month and holding their monthly meetings. Floyd County also holds their meetings. Lawrence County, we're holding our meeting. We just held it last Wednesday at Asian Pearl there in Bedford. We'll be moving our meetings to the Saturdays here in the near future, starting in January when we hold our convention. I've heard back from Brown County, Clark County, Floyd, and Lawrence. Of course, we all filed our forms. I may have possibly been a little late on our form in Lawrence County, though, so I'll have to check on that. But we did get our CFA filed there. I have not heard from Harrison County or Jefferson County on whether or not they got their CFAs in. I know Jefferson County does have a meeting tentatively scheduled for November 12th. I believe at Harry Stone Grill there in Madison. I'll have to get more feedback on that. We did participate in Lawrence County. To go back to Lawrence County for a minute, Lawrence County did participate in the 76th annual Persimmon Festival Parade in Mitchell. That was a great time. Had a good little turnout there, and we look forward to the December Christmas Parade, which is the first Saturday of December at 6 p.m. If anyone's available, wants to come down and join us there. Outside of that, we're just gearing up for the election day, and hopefully have a good election results in the 9th district, and we look forward to 2024.
Comment on District 9, specifically Clark County, just to let the board know now, we will likely be considering a lawsuit against Clark County over official Clarksville, the city, exclusion of Libertarian candidates from official government communications. They have attempted to correct it in a less than ideal way. Basically, they sent a letter to all of the residents, and they excluded Mr. Hirsch and Mr. Brooksbank. When they were called out on it, they apologized and said they would send out a letter stating that to people. The letter they sent out was poor quality. It was black and white when the other one was color. And they only sent it to people who received a water bill, which are only property owners, not tenants. So it was sent to fewer people. And it was discovered that another section of their website that they have been promoting continued to exclude the Libertarian candidates. And it is an official government website. We've talked to them numerous times. This is not the first time that Clark County has had problems. They misspelled Tanya Millis. There have been numerous instances of problems when it comes to recognizing Libertarian candidates. And so we have been talking about Mr. Brooksbank raised money to be able to send out a postcard to all of the residents. And I encouraged him to keep all of his receipts because we may need to prove to a court that we had to spend money to get the same sort of promotion that they gave to other candidates using taxpayer money. So keep that in mind. And do remember, if these things happen, please include me in them so that I can kind of lay the hammer down. Clarksville didn't want to fix it to begin with. And then Russell got me involved, and spontaneously they're willing to work. It ended up being less than satisfactory though. But Mr. Schultz.
This is germane to the next item on the agenda, so we can make sure we're done with District 9 if anybody has questions first.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Schultz. Any questions for Mr. Kinzer, District 9? Okay, hearing none. The next item on the agenda is a 10-minute break. Do you guys want to take the 10-minute break, or do you want to power through?
That was I'd like to move to amend the agenda and remove the 10-minute break.
Any objection to removing the 10-minute break? Okay, hearing no objection, we are foregoing the 10-minute break. The next item on the agenda is gaming under the team section. On the gaming team, we have Mr. Lomax, Mr. Johnson, Mr. Kinzer, Mr. Schultheis, and Mr. Day. Mr. Day doesn't serve on the SCC, but he is a member of the gaming team. I'd like to get a time to have all of those members together for a meeting. I'd like for us to, we had multiple requests fairly late in the season requesting use of our gaming permit for 50-50 raffles and things like that, which we're not able to do because there wasn't enough time to apply for them. I'd like to standardize that request process and actually have a document that district reps and county chairs can turn to know you can't ask us in October to use our gaming permit because it takes 60 to 90 days. But having that available ahead of time will help people know, and then having a standardized process of requesting that use of our gaming permit. I'd also like for us to have some actual state party gaming events in 2024 to raise some money. I can also see it being if we hold a statewide poker tournament separate from the convention and invite all of our candidates to come and speak, that'd be great. All of our statewide candidates or legislative candidates. Anyway, so if those members can put together a time that they would like to hold a meeting of that team, and then I'll sit in on it and express kind of what I'm asking for, and then people can be assigned to different things. So again, that was Mr. Lomax, Mr. Johnson, Mr. Kinzer, Mr. Schultheis, and Mr. Day. I'll get with Mr. Day to ask him about it, his time. So that's what I wanted to talk about gaming. Any questions about gaming? Okay, hearing none, moving on to data, Mr. Lundy.
Hi. I mean, we haven't got any new candidates, obviously, requesting information in this last bit of home stretch here. But we're up over 4,600 doors. I'm sure you saw that in my email where I included where everyone's at on that. So you can see how many doors. I know Darren brought it up earlier. Josh Turner's held 1,700 doors. He's killing it. He continues to kill it. I'm at about 1,450. So those are your top two. And it drops off after that. We're at over 4,600 doors total this year for our use of e-canvasser. So, and then with the switch over to voter gravity, you know, we'll have to bring Groff in on that at a certain point. But that's why, aside from the fact that we've had conflicting schedules and everything's been crazy this year. A lot of what voter gravity does will eliminate a lot of the back end work that I have to do. So we can focus more on the analytics and not just data prep. And as Evan said earlier, voter gravity has a lot more tools. It does a lot more than eCanvasser, and it has the things that that I require. It's not the data is not the same as the other two parties necessarily, which is important to me, that we're finding the people they're not finding, and there's still a way to do that in voter gravity. So that's it. That's all I got.
For clarification, just so people don't get upset when they're not eligible for the canvassing award at the convention, it is specifically you have to be using our system so that it's trackable. It can't be self-reported numbers. And that is actually baked into the award. So you actually have to be using the app, whatever the app may be in the future. But and so I don't want people to get upset when they say, well, I knocked on more doors than that. Well, if you didn't use the app, we don't know that. It's not self-reported. Any questions for Danny on data? Great. Okay, hearing none. The next item is convention for 2024. Not a lot of update other than I anticipate having by Friday the convention tickets up and running. One thing that I don't have yet that will be necessary for when that goes live is we do not have a hotel room block. So we're going to be listing area hotels to stay at, but we do not have a room block because there was absolutely 100% no benefit to having one. They're providing little to no discount on hotel rooms, but yet we would still be responsible for 40 room nights. Yes, Christy Avery, Friday, October 27th, 2023, by 11:59 p.m. Eastern time, I intend to have it up and running. Not a guarantee, but intend. I don't see any reason why I shouldn't have it up there by then. There are still going to be some fill in the blanks in the convention scheduled, but the tickets, barring any problem with Civi, should be up there for people to be able to purchase tickets and packages. I just want to shout out to Ms. Schillings and Ms. Alexander for doing a lot of work on organizing the convention, getting the convention up and running, getting us our locations. It's been great. We are going to need some people to step up to volunteer, to work the front desk, to work registration, to do other volunteer activities at the convention, because Ms. Alexander will be up on the stage this year, so she will not be able to serve at the registration desk once the meeting starts. Let's see, also shout out to Miss Avery. She has been working on receiving some of the auction items for the silent auction. One of them, which we won't talk about yet, sounds pretty freaking amazing. A really cool item, so that's really awesome. And that is the convention for 2024 update for the state party. Any questions about the convention?
I assume you and I will be talking about getting delegate numbers out to counties around the end of the year.
Yes, that goes live. So by the end of this month, we'll have the document, the Google sheet that has a rolling where you are right now. And then that gets locked December 31st. And then that's the official delegate amounts. Then when people start, when counties start submitting their delegate allotments back to us, we check that off, credential them, are they eligible? and have they registered? Because that's the other thing. Even if you're not going to be going, or only if you're only going to the business meeting, you still have to register. So we'll be working on that, and me and you'll probably need to have a conversation in the next couple of weeks about that, because you didn't do it before, did you? You didn't help on that last year, did you?
No, that was Ms. Salgado and Ms. Alexander, but I am
And I'll show
free
you.
and available.
We'll do some training on how to actually do like the credentials report and how to do the updates, and hopefully you'll be able to do it live. The technology exists and it's capable. You just have to be willing. But I'll show you how to do that so that you can pull those reports and know at any minute who's actually credentialed and who's actually attending in the room. Okay. Any other questions about the 2024 state convention? Okay, hearing none, moving on to unfinished business 2023 election, political director. Do you have anything else additional to add than what you gave in your political director report?
No, I will be working to get the Michigan City candidate on the website. But other than that, I have nothing to add.
Okay, any questions for Mr. Copeland? Okay, hearing none, the legal updates are zeroed out. There are no legal updates as of this time. I have no new information on any of the pending legal matters. LPIN events, are there any upcoming events that have not already been mentioned that should be part of the record? Okay, hearing none. Moving on to the next item of business is the book censorship resolution, which I will put up on the screen. Nope, not that one. This one. Here we go. Let's see if I can zoom in here a little bit. Do you guys need me to read it out loud? No, everybody got a copy of it, and it is going to be included in the minutes. I would accept a motion to adopt the resolution if somebody wanted to make it.
I would make that motion, Evan.
Okay, it's been made by Mr. Kinzer. Is there a second?
Second.
Second.
I'm going to take the second from Ms. Schillings, since she was first. Open it up for discussion. Anybody wish to speak in favor? We'll go in favor and then opposite. Anybody wish to speak in favor of the motion? Have any question or comments?
I think drafting a stance, a position that's as clearly drafted as that to support the First Amendment is exactly what the Libertarian Party of Indiana should be doing. And I love the way it was worded. I love the way that it was broken down, and it sticks to the true values of the libertarian ideals and supporting the First Amendment. So thank you.
Ms. Schillings, being from a county that has a public library that has a form of book censorship, would you like to make any comment?
In fact, I would. I find it commendable that the Libertarian Party is putting out an adoption of this statement. One, because, censorship leads to thought control for the people who are unable to find information and learn from it. If you erase history, if you erase how the human civilization has come to be the way it is now, you don't know what caused the problem. You don't know how to repair it. And when you're trying to remove that information from people's hands, I think that you're reducing the intelligence of your overall community. So I like this statement, and I think it would be a great thing.
Let me just say, this is pretty much identical to the one that was submitted to the LNC that was voted down.
Yes, that's correct. Mr. Schultz. The mute button.
Sorry, hopping screens to try and take notes as things happen. I intend to vote no on this resolution. I understand the sentiment. I understand what we're trying to get at. Free speech is very important, but the books are available on Amazon. Yeah, I would be all in favor if the concern was people coming into people's houses and taking the books or destroying the books or not allowing them to be purchased or read within the jurisdiction of these counties. But these are public institutions, whether they be schools or libraries, and by simple physics, there can't be every book in every library, and it cannot be random what those books are. There have to be some decisions what can and can't go there. Even as a religious person, I understand, especially in school libraries, if people don't want Bibles there or religious material, science that is defunct from 1,000 years ago, while interesting historically, you might not want in a 7th grade science classroom. You don't want Nazi propaganda. There are lots of things that I think is entirely appropriate that as the funding agency, local and county and even state governments can legitimately say that these will not be provided in public libraries, especially if they're still available to the public on private bases. So I understand the minority, but that is my feeling on the matter. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Schultz. Mr. Hagerman.
I'd just like to say, I think that the resolution is addressing the wrong problem. The problem isn't censorship. The problem is public libraries. If these were private libraries, we wouldn't be talking about this. And if it was me, I would be addressing the public library as being the problem, and not censorship.
Is that all, Mr. Hagerman?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Smith.
Yeah, I would be in favor of this resolution and would certainly be happy to help draft it. I think opposing censorship is obviously a very libertarian position, but when it comes to, yes, these are taxpayer funded institutions, and whether or not we support the existence of public versus private libraries, I think is immaterial to the reality that they exist. And there's a difference between having something available for somebody to choose to check out or not versus somebody outside of the organization or somebody, a third party, I guess is the best way to put it, which in this case would be a library board, deciding in advance what types of materials are off limits. And, it's one thing, John Stuart Mill said, and I wrote a piece on this a year or so ago, the best way to fight censorship or the best way to fight bad ideas is with better ideas. It's not by trying to silence those ideas. When we try to silence ideas, bad things happen. And it takes us on a very slippery slope, especially when the public, or in this case, the government, is trying to silence ideas. And whatever we believe about the existence of public institutions, they exist, and we need to operate within the framework of what exists rather than what is ideal. But the state should not be deciding what is and is not allowable for people to read and view. So I would be very, very in favor of such a resolution.
Thank you, Mr. Smith. Mr. Telsky.
Yeah, thanks, Mr. Chair. I am in favor of the resolution, but with a suggestion, perhaps. I think what's really important is that we stand in support of something versus in opposition of something. The tendency seems to always be in opposition of things. So maybe it's just a little bit of wordsmithing that Mr. Smith can help with in making this in support of First Amendment versus in opposition of censorship. It's a way of changing the word a little bit to show what we're in support of. And I do think it's important. Sometimes we're accused of libertarians being Republicans that smoke weed. Well, this is a very clear delineation against the Republican establishment that's trying to censor, libraries and schools and things of that nature. So if it's possible, maybe that is a way to just tweak it a little bit to show what we're in support of versus what we're in opposition of. should accomplish the same thing, but actually show that we're standing in support of First Amendment rights versus the opposition of censorship of those same rights, if that makes sense.
I will point out, Mr. Telsky, as a point of information for you, or point of process, the motion is on the floor. So it will either be adopted or not adopted in its present form, or somebody can propose an amendment now. So it was sent out to ask for those kind of amendments beforehand. But so if you wanted to amend it now, you could propose an amendment, but it will be voted on by this board to either be passed or not passed in whatever final form it's in. So just clarifying to say, if you're asking for it to be amended later, that's not exactly the option. You would have to vote it down and then ask for it to be. And if it failed, you would have to get people who voted against it to ask for it to be reconsidered, amended later. It's a whole process. Does that make sense?
It does. So,
okay. Mr. Engelberth.
So a story, a real quick story, and I approve of the resolution. For many years, it was known through Southwestern Indiana that Jasper Public Library was the only library that actually carried Mein Kampf. Everyone would joke, well, of course, you're German, so you guys are just a bunch of Germans. So of course you would read that book. It's probably something your kids are required to read. And they would all laugh. I'm like, well, I'm not from Du Bois County, but why would you censor something like that if you wanted to have it there so people can understand the mind of a madman? And they're like, well, they might read it and become like that. And so you get that, you see where the Republican arguments come, because where I was speaking at was kind of a Republican event. So, you read this and you might want to say, well, this is such a negative, school libraries just hate us, but you have to think of the public pressure they get. And I think this is as a positive maneuver for school libraries saying, we back you to put the stuff out there, because there are going to be a lot of people hating on them for putting certain books out there. And I think you have these school boards and school, these libraries, public libraries, literally looking at like figurative guns pointing at them from both sides. You put that book out there, will hate you. And so they're struggling to know what to do. So I think this is also a very important thing, because maybe it would just open it up and maybe they would be braver. So I just wanted to tell that story.
Anyone else who hasn't spoken yet that would like to speak for or against the motion for resolution? Okay, I will exercise my prerogative to comment. There isn't a single library in the state of Indiana, public school or other public library, that doesn't have a copy of the Bible. That is actually a protected thing. They would not legally be able to remove it, or any other religious text. Most schools have copies of the Quran and the Torah. There has been litigation over the Satanic Bible being present. There are also libraries that do have a copy of Mein Kampf. And one of the reasons for it, one of the reasons why my hometown, Bloomington, Indiana, the public library there does not have it, because they got tired of replacing it because it kept getting stolen. And so they elected not to restock it anymore. When it comes to libraries, the issue isn't, for me, and why I think this resolution is important, is not because books aren't available and that the book might be available at Amazon. It's because people are sitting on boards directing librarians to remove books from shelves that have certain content that they don't approve of. Books that were already in the library that are being removed. So it's not a question of, oh, they don't have the shelf space to stock all of these books. They're making a moral decision as to what should be allowed and shouldn't be allowed, instead of leaving it to parents to work with librarians to create cultivated lists that reflect the ideology of the parents and how they would like for their children to be educated, which is something that every library offers, by the way. Every public library has librarians who can help parents create curated and cultivated lists. When a library chooses, or when a library board instructs that a topic is not available, it also becomes unavailable from their digital library. So it's not even a question of, oh, they don't have the book on the shelf, but now they also can't have it on e-reader, which are free to library patrons. Making it sound like, oh, well, you can go on Amazon and get the book. Well, you can go on Amazon and get every book. So I guess libraries just shouldn't exist then. But they do exist. The schools have them, the counties have them. So I'm as a writer, as somebody who owns a publishing company, I am very concerned about a group of what essentially is unelected, appointed bureaucrats making a decision on what is acceptable and what isn't acceptable when it comes to broad swaths of commentary. Case in point, I know that there are libraries in the state who have systematically removed any book that has any positive reflection on the gay community. Not just like erotic books or romance books, but a biography about Alan Turing, who was the person who broke the Enigma code and was the founder of modern computers because he was gay. And he committed suicide because of how he was treated by his government. His biography was pulled from a library. Not because they didn't have shelf space, but because they didn't want people hearing his story or hearing who he was about. There are always going to be instances where a local community may not want something. And the free market at the library is, we bring in these books, and if people check them out, they check them out. If they don't check them out, they go for sale at the Friends of the Library book sale. But to set a policy that says we are not going to have this type of content, I think is wrong. I'll go ahead and hear from you again, Mr. Schultz, if you'd like, because your hand is up. Where'd you go, Mr. Schultz?
Thank you, because you were clearly responding to my point, so I feel it's appropriate that I can respond as well. It's not particularly relevant to me what the current law is. If we all know that there are specific things that this motion is addressing, that there's, it's about the LGBTQ stuff. In my opinion, we should just make that moral case. Obviously, there's a moral case to be made. If something specific is being censored, then you should make a case that this should not be censored. But for an entity that is funded and regulated by the government, if it's going to be a public entity, which it is, then that means the lawmakers decide how it's run and what goes there. And then you need to make the case about specific things. If you want to make a case on why Satanic Bible should or should not be there, why the Quran should or should not be there, why trans literature, gay literature should or should not be there, Bible, whatever, I think you can make that moral case as a citizen, as a political party. But to just say broadly that that the statement particularly, that they should be impassive carriers of information making it all available, well, A, that's impossible because there are too many books. And B, from a personal world viewpoint, I don't think that's realistic. Everyone has a bias. Nobody knows everything. It's not a free market. If it were a private library or a private person, they can read it. If we had an issue on a specific thing, we can make that thing. But I don't think a blanket case that there should be no censorship or no laws at all about what can and can't go, that's not realistic, in my opinion.
So I'm actually going to respond again, since it was questioning the motivation. It's actually not about LGBT issues, because the entire section of youth books was removed from the Hamilton County Library, not because they were LGBT.
Oh,
A Fault in
really?
Our Stars, A Fault in Our Stars has absolutely no LGBT information in it whatsoever. And the author, who happens to be from Hamilton County, and that is a best-selling book, a Newbery Award winner. It is recommended. Happens to live in the county, and the only reason why his book was put back on the shelf was because it ended up being in the New York Times that his hometown banned his book.
Yeah, that's John Green.
Right. And so this isn't about LGBT issues. I just happen to point that out because that's a personal point of me and my personal experience. But this is a broad ranging because it goes on so many different things. And as far as not being able to have a book, speaking to librarians and being in the publishing industry, I can tell you that if you request a book from the library and they don't have it, while they may not order a copy of it because it is expensive for libraries to do that, they can request the digital copy for their e-reader program. So they could have unlimited amounts of books. And that is something that happens. And most publishing companies provide those at a ridiculously cheap cost for the libraries just to have the digital. And if they have the digital and they find that it's being checked out a lot, they tend to get the printed copy then later, because that's what the market is saying. But as far as these policies will prevent them from even having the digital copy, which costs the library nothing and takes no space, because it's a policy matter of banning those books. Ms. Schillings. You're muted, Ms. Schillings.
Buttons for that. I just would like to speak to the fact that this resolution has zero reference to individual topics. It actually covers the right to your free speech, which the government has zero jurisdiction to restrict. And I think that furthermore, the point is that government entities shouldn't be deciding for the general public what they're allowed to intake for knowledge or how people should be able to express that. You know, having a free press is very valuable. We have found over history, if the first time the government starts to restrict things and then they start taking things away, and then they simply will not allow people to speak in a certain fashion, and then it becomes completely authoritarian. Whereas we libertarians tend to say, oh, it's First Amendment rights, but what does that really mean to you? I mean, if we're not allowed to go read a book, that's an infringement on not only the book writer, it's an infringement on me to find that information as my right to know things. And who are they to decide for me what I'm allowed to learn? What if they say, oh, you can't learn science anymore? I'm sorry. That's terrible, and you can't do that. So then, you know, where does health care come from? You're not allowed to see a doctor anymore. Sorry. So there's further restrictions on that. And, you know, it comes down to the fact that, you know, as libertarians, the non-aggression principle, literally our whole platform is based on not forcing people to do anything. And the government is trying to force us as a community to not have these things available to us. They're taking that option away from us, our freedom of choice. And that simply cannot stand. So I'm very much in favor of this resolution on those terms alone. You know, my personal feelings on a topic in those books is irrelevant. It's about having access to the book itself. Thank you.
One other comment I'd like to make, and then on deck is Mr. Soltz, then Ms. Coquillard, and then Mr. Kinzer. This doesn't mean that every book has to be made available, or that they have to add every book into the e-reader system. It just means that they can't have a policy that says when a book is requested, it is rejected because it falls within this criteria or falls within this list of things that we're not allowing. So I just wanted to make that clarification. We are out of time on this, and there are 4 other people who would like to speak. Is there a motion to extend, or I would accept a motion to extend by, looking at the agenda, 5 minutes?
Motion to extend by 5 minutes.
I'm going to accept the motion from Mr. Lundy, and I'll give Mr. Schultz a second to switch over. Is there a second?
Second.
I heard a second. I didn't. I'll say
Gillespie.
made the second. Is there any objection? Okay, hearing no objection, time is expended by 5 minutes, but we'll start the clock when Mr. Solt says he's ready to speak.
Yeah, and this will be the last I'll say on the matter. Like I said, I'm smart enough to know when I'm in the minority. I'm a libertarian. So I wasn't trying to impugn the motives. The things that I see on Facebook in my circles are usually Republicans saying, oh, look at this horrible LGBT agenda book in schools. They try to take it out, and then people respond to that. And based on your comments, I assumed that was it. I didn't realize it was about The Fault in My Stars. The point remains, whether it was about Fault in Our Stars, you shouldn't be taking books away from John Green unless they have XYZ. You shouldn't be taking away from books LGBT. And Mr. Lundy said something about Mises and Rothbard. If the government were smart, they should take Mises and Rothbard out of their public universities. They would be funding the revolution. And if assuming they're evil, which they are, and assuming they're smart, which they're not, they would take them out. So I am fully in support of specifics, but I just cannot. We are making a broad moral case about public institutions that I broadly morally, it is too broad for me to stand behind. I'm sorry, but I respect everyone here that wants to.
You're muted, Evan.
I'm sorry, I'm muted. Liz, you have the floor.
I was just going to speak in support of the resolution. Libraries aren't in the business of moral judgment or as acting as de facto babysitters. That's quoting Tim Cotton's article. But, they're a repository of ideas. And I think that limiting ideas is wrong. So that's why I'm speaking in support.
Thank you, Ms. Coquillard. Mr. Telsky.
Mr. Chair, keep me honest. Can I offer an amendment to this at this point, if I had one?
Yes, you can.
How would I share that if I edited with changes to propose it?
You could post it in the chat.
So I would like to offer a quick amendment.
Somebody needs to be on deck to move to extend time.
I am looking for the chat feature. I do have, if you'd like for me to share my screen, I have a changed version that might be easier to read than what I'm about to post in here.
You'll still need to post
simply
it
adding
so that Mr. Soltz can get a
Chat
copy.
feature is at the bottom of your screen.
Yeah, I'm trying to post it here. I don't know why it's not posted. I've copied it. I'm trying to post it. Sorry, I'm getting this spinning thing of death on my computer here, probably because of all the video.
Hey, Mike, at the bottom of the chat window, there is it looks like a document with a folded corner. If you hover over it, it says file, and then you can go to my computer at the bottom, and you can pick the document as you've saved it on your computer, and it'll share it to the chat.
I'm clicking that right now.
Mr.
You'll have to close the Word document first.
Since you're having
Yeah, I got it in a Word document.
Since you're having technical difficulties, once you post it into the chat, then I'll recognize you again for an amendment, but you have to be prepared to make the amendment. So I'm going to take Miss Alexander. You had your hand up.
I just wanted to speak to the fact that I don't believe that the motion is, or the resolution is comes from a moral basis. It comes from a basis of the government not having the authority to legislate our morals or decide how we figure out our own morals. I don't believe that we're condemning the morality of banning books, but we are condemning the authoritarian control over what we have access to as a public. And to the point you said earlier that the lawmakers decide what's in the public libraries, but really it should be the public deciding what's in a public library. Lawmakers are just stewards of our tax dollars, not coordinators of them or controllers of them.
I move to extend time by 10 minutes on this topic.
I'll second that.
By Mr. Lomax, seconded by Mr. Kinzer. Is there any objection to extending time by 10 minutes? Hearing none. I have, Mr. Telsky, would you like to officially make a motion to amend?
Yes, Mr. Chair, I would like to propose to officially amend the resolution supporting First Amendment rights for Indiana citizens in Indiana libraries.
Okay, so it is up on the screen. Mr. Soltz, did you grab a copy of it, Mr. Secretary, from the chat? The proposed amendment.
Yeah, I'm working on it.
Okay. Up on the screen is the proposed amendment, changing the title to Resolution Supporting First Amendment Rights of Indiana Citizens in Indiana's Libraries. The second change is Libertarian at the bottom, the final paragraph. Second sentence strikes oppose policies and laws which impede and instead adds Libertarians support the First Amendment and oppose policies and laws which impinge and limit rights of individuals to self-determination in the reading and speech of public libraries. The Libertarian Party of Indiana encourages elected and appointed officials at all levels of government to support the First Amendment and stand up against censorship in all forms. Stylistic change, Mr. Telsky, none of those should be in all caps.
Yeah, sorry, that was my keyboard in all caps by error, not meant to be in caps.
We don't need an amendment to amend that. It's standard policy to make grammatical and stylization changes to conform. So should the amendment pass, we would change those to make them. Would you like to speak? Well, first of all, is there a second to the amendment?
I will second.
Okay, it was seconded by Mr. Copeland. Mr. Telsky, does anybody need me to keep this up on the screen? Okay, hearing none. Would you like to speak to your amendment, Mr. Telsky?
Oh, I think just as I had mentioned earlier, I think it's important to show we're in support of first and foremost, while we can still oppose, and I kept that language in there, but lead with support of First Amendment rights. I think it will show that we're standing and separating ourselves from those that oppose, but leading with, it's very minor, but it is, I think as Danny's commenting on it, it's a tonal change in the language, but I do think it's important to lead with a positive note in what we're in support of versus in opposition of first.
Pause for 1 second. Did you get the answer to your questions, Mr. Soltz? No. The second extension was the second, which is, I believe it was Mr. Telsky. I believe.
Yes.
We can correct the stylistic change, Mr. Smith. Okay, is there anybody else that would like to speak on the motion to amend? Okay, hearing none. Is there objection to the amendment? If there's any objection to the amendment, we'd move to a vote on the amendment. Okay, hearing no objection, the amendment becomes the main motion now. So this would be how the motion would read, or the resolution will read. as amended. Does anybody need it back up on the screen? No, okay.
I've moved to adopt the resolution as amended.
You don't have to, it was already up. This was already a motion on the floor. It's just whether or not it was amended or not. So now we would move to a vote. Well, actually, is there any more discussion on the main motion on the resolution as amended? Any discussion? Okay, we'll go to a roll call vote. Mr. Schultz, Mr. Secretary, when you're ready, please call the roll.
All right. District 9, Kinzer.
Aye.
District 8, Engelberth.
Aye.
D7, Johnson. D7, Johnson.
Aye.
Hey, no. D6, Lomax.
Aye.
D5, Schillings.
Aye.
D4, Lundy.
Aye.
D3, Avery. D3, Avery.
Aye.
D2, Cocolard.
Aye.
D1, Teleski.
Aye.
Communications, Smith.
Aye.
Tech, Hagerman. Tech, Hagerman. Okay.
Aye.
Political, Copeland.
Aye.
Treasurer Schultheis.
You skip Mr. Smith.
Aye.
I said Mr. Smith. I said Communications Smith.
Oh, you did? Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Secretary Schultz is no. Sorry, guys. Vice Chair Alexander.
Aye.
Mr. Chair, are you voting?
Yes, and I'll be voting yes.
All right, Mr. Chair, that is 15 votes in favor, 1 opposed.
Thank you, everyone. Mr. Smith, if you can work on both a press release and a op-ed on this, would like it if it also referenced the article from Tim Cotton, the county chair of St. Joseph County. Can you work on getting that for me?
Yes, can you send me that article from Tim Cotton so I can
Yes.
I can have that, but yes, I will get that done as
Liz?
quickly as possible.
Liz, can you send me the article from Tim Cotton?
You got it.
Thank you. I'll also send you the final word, the final approved wording of the resolution as well.
Okay, excellent.
Okay, perfect. Thank you, everybody. And I just want to say, thank you, everybody, even though there was disagreement. Thank you, everybody, for disagreeing in a friendly, non-combative, hateful way. We are unlike most states in the national party in that we can disagree and not hate each other at the end. So give yourselves a pat on the back for that. 2024 National Convention. Really just what I wanted to focus on here was we are growing our membership, our delegation slots. We're at 38 as of right now. I don't see that number going down. I see it only going up. There's a potential we could hit 40, maybe even 41 before the 31st. So please start talking to people in your district that you would potentially could be delegates. We do need to stress that people need to be present Thursday through Monday. Thursday through Monday. It was confirmed that there is another schedule that the Convention Oversight Committee did hear in the event business is not concluded Sunday, that there is a plan in place to continue the business through Monday. I'm not sure how that's possible, but I would really hate for Indiana's delegation to not be present should that happen. So everybody needs to be able to be there through Monday. No, I am not requesting a free convention suite. The LPIN has always had a convention suite that we have paid for. This is not a regional suite, which are required to be paid for by the National Party. No, I am requesting, that was actually something I was going to say. I am still angry that I have not been able to get information about the LPIN purchasing a suite for our members and our delegation to be able to be present in. I had talked to Mr. Bowen about this. It is not free. We are wanting to pay for it. Please stress that.
I want to inform Mr. Malagon, who's now the convention chairman.
Yeah. No, we're not socialists. We pay for our way. So please strongly present my position to them that we've always had one and we have always paid for it. The regional rooms are different. Anyway, that was the other thing that I was going to bring up. I have not been able to secure that yet because now we know why. Even though it was clearly communicated in my emails that we wanted the pricing so that we could pay for it. But so please be asking people if they're interested, and they can send the request to Kristen Alexander, the vice chair, who is keeping a running total of people who are requesting to be considered for the national delegation from Indiana. They do need to be both a state party member and a national party member prior to the state convention. They must be eligible. They should do that now. That'd be great. There is a cost associated with going. You have to pay for your hotel room and your flight and any meals and everything else. It is not a vacation. You are expected to be on the floor as a delegate while business is going on. In 2012, Joe Coleman left to go. Who is that? Mr. Tinsky. Joe Coleman left to go shopping on Sunday, and when she left, Mark Rutherford lost the chair's race by 1 vote. So you must be on the floor to do the business. That's what you're being sent there for, not to go visit the Smithsonian. Any questions about the 2024 National Convention?
Mr. Chair, I did just post a question in the chat related to other state chairs getting a provided suite. I might be misreading the comment above, but if they do, why would we not ask for you to have the same?
To my knowledge, that has never been a thing that's happened. No state party has ever gotten a free convention suite. They are required to provide one for the region, but that's on the floor. And that's where they hold their regional events and things like that.
And I see the clarification here. That makes sense. Okay, so
it's
request or comment doesn't mean approval.
It's people who have never served on the LNC or ever been involved in the national convention, who have been given positions of authority, don't know how these things have ever operated in the past. So they are making assumptions that apparently we want something for free that we've never gotten for free. Just because requests are common doesn't mean they're approved. I guess I don't understand. Can you elaborate, Mr. Schultz?
That was in regards to Mr. Telesky's comment, because
okay.
Greg said the requests are common. I'm saying just because requests are common doesn't mean they're approved.
Gotcha. Let's see. So yeah, those are the things. We're gonna be organizing a thing with Sherry Charlo and Sam Goldstein. Will be giving a presentation at the state convention on what it means to be a delegate to the national convention. So that'll be fun. Okay, any questions, any other questions about the 2024 National Convention? Okay, hearing none. The December SCC meeting and holiday party, it is confirmed December 16th at the Hilton Garden Inn downtown Indianapolis. Tickets for the holiday party will be $25. And we're going to do the standard white elephant and the white elephant ugly sweater contest. If anybody else has any ideas for fun little reindeer games that we can play, and if anybody has any prizes for said games, please let me know. That would be great. Any questions about the SCC meeting / holiday party?
I had one question.
Ms. Schillings?
I seem to recall that being a $10 ticket for some reason.
It was in the years past because it only cost us $400 to host the event, and it's going to cost us about $650 now. So the price has gone up.
Okay, thank you.
Inflation.
Will this holiday party be family friendly?
Yes,
Moving our kids.
actually, if you want to drink alcohol, you have to go to the bar that's outside the venue, but it is family friendly.
And that's at 3 p.m. you said?
That's when the SCC meeting is, from 3 to 5:30, and then the party
Party
starts.
starts at 6. Okay.
Yes. Okay, any other questions about the holiday party? Okay, next on the agenda is the LPI training. That's the Amplified training on November 11th. Please go book your slot now if you intend to attend. We have a couple of hotel rooms available. So if you would like to stay Friday and Saturday night, you can book both or one day if you would like. The current price, if you go to the website and book a hotel room right now, is $250 plus tax. Our rate is $185, tax included. So just FYI. Any questions or comments about the candidate training on November 11th? Okay, hearing none. Are there any additional announcements that we haven't already heard? Nobody? All right, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
I move to adjourn.
It was moved by
I
Mr.
would second that.
It was seconded by Mr. Kinzer. All those in favor say aye.
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 All those opposed say nay. We are adjourned, and it is 12:31, and we were expected to adjourn by 1:06. Please let the record reflect that. I would love a running total of when I estimated we would be out and when we're actually out, because I believe that I have saved us at least a couple of hours. Hold on one second.